Hey, this is Velly. Welcome back to my channel. If you think you're having a rough day, rest assured, it's nothing compared to Blake Lively's. She has just learned that she is facing yet another defamation lawsuit, this time from a man named Jed Wallace. And don't worry, this time it's only for $6 million at this point. That might just feel like routine for her. In today's episode, we have something special, a Be Better exclusive. For the first time, I have an inside source providing information that I believe is quite explosive. So, as always, grab a snack, find a comfortable seat, because this is going to be an interesting night. As mentioned, Blake Lively is now facing a lawsuit from Jed Wallace. If you're wondering who that is, let me explain. In Lively's initial complaints, one of the more striking allegations involved a subcontractor from Texas. She claimed that her opponents hired subcontractors, including a Texas-based contractor named Jed Wallace, to mobilize a digital network across the country, from New York to Los Angeles, designed to seed and promote seemingly authentic content on social media platforms and internet forums. A key point to clarify is that the initial document referenced in the New York Times article was not a lawsuit, but rather a complaint filed with the California Civil Rights Department. These types of administrative filings are not typically public. Wallace's legal team now argues that Lively leveraged this filing by distributing it to media outlets, particularly the New York Times, thereby falsely associating him with allegations of sexual harassment and an alleged smear campaign, claims he insists he had no involvement in. As a result, Wallace asserts that his public relations business has suffered millions in financial losses. Upon reviewing this situation, something notable stands out. Shortly after Lively's legal team transitioned from filing a complaint to pursuing a formal lawsuit, all references to Jed Wallace were omitted from the case. This raises an important question. If Wallace was truly the mastermind behind an orchestrated smear campaign, why was he excluded from the final lawsuit? One possible explanation is that Lively's team may have hoped that the allegations against Wallace would remain within the complaint and never require further.
Doing that, he was falsely lumped into all of these horrible allegations of sexual harassment and a smear campaign that he says he had no part of. And as a result of that, has lost millions and
Another topic I wanted to discuss is something I discovered after reading this book. At the end, there's a note from the author where Colleen Hoover explains that the characters Lily and Riley are actually inspired by her parents. Lily, in particular, is based on her mother, who left an abusive relationship. It was a heartfelt revelation, and for a moment, it helped me understand why, even though I personally found the book lacking. It resonated deeply with many women who read it. This also reminded me of an email Colleen Hoover sent to Justin Baldoni in 2019, about 6 years ago, regarding potentially selling the rights to him. She expressed concern about handing the rights over to someone who might interpret the story as a rom-com and take it in the wrong direction. Now, shifting gears to the infamous personal trainer controversy. As you may recall, the entire fat-shaming incident began when Justin Baldoni inquired about Blake Lively's weight from her personal trainer, who, at the time, was also working with Baldoni. There is documented proof of this exchange. The personal trainer, now identified as Don Saladino, a well-known celebrity trainer, had previously posted a photo featuring his wife, Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively. He later edited the caption and clarified his stance. Here's what he wrote. There have been negative comments on this post, as well as negative messages sent to my wife and even my children. To be clear, Justin Baldoni is not my client. I created a complimentary program for him as a favor to a client, Blake. I have never trained him in person or virtually. We only communicated via calls and texts from January to March 2023. I couldn't accommodate his schedule and eventually found him a coach. After an uncomfortable conversation regarding Blake's weight, our communication ended. There are two main reasons why I find this personal trainer's credibility questionable. First, It seems unprofessional for an adult to react in such a manner to a fairly reasonable question. If Baldoni was asking about Lively's weight to tailor his training accordingly, it doesn't inherently warrant running back to Lively, who has openly discussed insecurities about her postpartum body and framing it as fat shaming. That behavior feels unnecessarily dramatic and unprofessional.
19, so 6 years ago, she was talking about potentially selling the rights to Justin. And she said, "My biggest fear is that I'll sell the rights to someone who thinks it's a rom-com, and they'll take it in the absolute wrong direction."
Secondly, a simple Google search reveals that Saladino's website prominently features workout programs associated with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. This suggests he is financially benefiting from their association. Given this, I find it difficult to consider him a neutral and unbiased source for this controversy. Intro 3. A real reason for telling Blake Lively about Justin Baldoni's comment. It seems likely that the goal was to strengthen his friendship with her by shifting the blame onto someone else. It's reminiscent of high school dynamics, when a so-called friend tells you something hurtful that someone else supposedly said, claiming they're only sharing it because they care. In reality, they're just stirring the pot while trying to appear as your ally. That's the vibe this situation gives off. During my research, I discovered some revealing information. We all know that Brandon Sklenar was one of the first people to publicly support Blake Lively. Keep that in mind. Then, Lively starred in A Simple Favor 2 alongside Michelle Morone, the lead actor from 365 Days. He too publicly backed her. The director of A Simple Favor 2, Paul Feig, also recently voiced his support for Lively. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It was just announced that both Brandon Sklenar and Michelle Morone have been cast in an upcoming film adaptation of The Housemaid. And guess who the director is? Paul Feig. Neither Sklenar nor Morone were widely recognized before it ends with us, particularly Sklenar, who was relatively unknown. Yet now, they've landed key roles in this new project. This strongly suggests that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have used their influence to reward those who publicly supported them. As if this situation couldn't take another twist, we now have an unexpected figure resurfacing. Do you remember Elaine Bredehoft, the attorney from the Amber Heard trial? She was widely criticized for her courtroom performance, which was arguably one of the weakest legal defenses ever seen in a high-profile case. Well, she's back, and it appears she's informally auditioning to be a part of Blake Lively's legal team, offering one of the most baffling takes I've encountered. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
In New York, as does Florida, they have anti-SLAPP litigation, and New York has really strengthened theirs. If you retaliate like Justin Baldoni has here with his lawsuit because she has spoken out on a matter of public concern, which certainly sexual harassment is, he is in danger of getting his case dismissed.
Elaine's analysis contained a major flaw. She overlooked the fact that while anti-SLAPP laws exist in New York, this case is being handled in federal court, where those laws do not apply. This means that everything she stated was entirely inaccurate. I have no idea where she earned her law degree, but Elaine, if you're interested, you should absolutely join Blake Lively's legal team. Don't let them say no. Honestly, I'd love to see her in action for a courtroom sequel. Get Elaine back in the courtroom. Now, for the part you've all been waiting for, my source has revealed that Lively's legal team is allegedly trying to amend their filing to add Jenny Slate as a plaintiff in the lawsuit. However, Slate reportedly wants no part in this situation. If she declines to be named as an official plaintiff, which seems likely, Lively's team may still subpoena her and use her testimony or past experiences as evidence. Allegedly, Slate has had some uncomfortable encounters with Justin Baldoni, involving harassment or behavior that made her uneasy. At this stage, it appears Lively's team strongly believes that adding more women to the lawsuit will strengthen their case. However, it seems that neither Jenny Slate nor other cast members are eager to board what appears to be a rapidly sinking ship.